Citizen Sleeve!
Hello, I am Citizen Sleeve, and welcome to Talking Title Screens. This episode, we're going to be looking at Far Cry 5, and this was suggested by a subscriber of mine called Johnny, who's got a cracking YouTube channel where he plays music in the Daily Jam and a few other things, guitar and bass, etc., sometimes singing, and he does a lot of games, incredible amount of gameplay stuff, let's plays, etc. Stuff like XCOM 2, which he's playing right now. I will link his channel in the description below. So, Far Cry 5's title screen. Now, to begin with, it might seem there's not actually that much to deconstruct. We have quite an idyllic view. This slightly potholed road that drives our attention and line of sight down the centre of the view. On the left-hand side and right-hand side, we have leaves from trees gently blowing in the wind. On the left-hand side, obviously more in the foreground, but driving down the right-hand side into the distance. We've got the American flag there, just below the title, which we'll talk about in a second. And the windmill just gently moving back and forward, again with the American flag, just to reinforce the notion of patriotism. We've got farming equipment in a field to the left. Buildings just off into the distance in the town there, with the truck behind the sign. And then wonderful clear sky with fluffy clouds and those green mountains off in the distance. It all looks really nice and beautiful and peaceful. Then let's take a look at the logo. So Far Cry itself is its typical font, but this time in bold white with blue around the outside of most of the lettering and a little hint of red on the 5 there. And then of course the stars below it, the 5 stars. Again, relating directly to the American flag. Now, the really interesting part of this is the sign. So it's called Hope County, and the view almost gives you hope. It really does look quite stunning. Little red flowers at the bottom of it there, this nicely constructed old sign, blue to reflect the blue in the background. Welcome to Hope County. And that's quite pertinent when you've then got Sinner in black scrawled in paint across it. Now this reminds me of 2 very specific films. The first is Clint Eastwood's High Plains Drifter, where he knows a group of hardcore outlaws are coming to the town he's wandered into. So he paints the town red and scrawls hell over the sign. The other film it reminds me of is David Lynch's Blue Velvet. Now the opening of that, we start in what's called kind of Americana. Now this isn't strictly Americana, this is the country obviously. But in Americana, in suburbia, everything is perfect. Beautiful houses, white picket fences, beautiful families and homes, everything like that. But when you scratch the surface below, there's far more insidious things going on. Start of Blue Velvet, we have that. We're moving through suburbia on a beautiful day with Blue Velvet playing in the background. And then a man who's mowing his lawn has a heart attack. And as he falls, the camera moves down with him beneath us into the dirt, because there's stuff going on beneath the surface we don't know about. And I think that's what Sinner is supposed to do. We have everything else, this beautiful landscape, great breeze, wonderful view, no cars, no traffic, just everything still. But this one thing, just that Sinner scrawled across the sign of Hope County, makes you think, okay, there's something going on here. Some kind of religious cult perhaps. Something isn't quite right with what we're seeing in the view and what's actually happening just beneath the surface. Finally, let's just talk music, so let's have a listen for a moment. So Far Cry 5's title screen music, it's quite country, but then we have violins later on. It's very melodic, it's quite haunting, and it sits well with the aesthetic, this beautiful scenery, but also just gives a nod to that scrawled sinner. So it really does suit it incredibly well. What all these different elements do in combination, the design, the aesthetic, and the music, is set you up as a player for a first impression of this town you're about to go into before you have even gone there. So you have this wonderful view, you have this quite nice melodic music, you have these mountains and clouds and the breeze, but just to your right there, as you're about to enter the town, is Sinner scrawled over it. And that just puts a doubt in your mind. What's going on? What's simmering beneath the surface that we haven't discovered yet? Okay, that was Far Cry 5 title screen deconstruction. If I've missed anything as ever, chuck it in the comments. If you have anything else to talk to me about in regard to the Far Cry 5 title screen, chuck it in the comments. And if you've got any suggestions for future episodes of talking title screens, then chuck them in the comments as well. Right, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, maybe hit that like button, maybe even consider subbing to the channel. If you didn't like the video, hit that dislike button. Not everybody likes everything. Take it easy. I shall see you very soon. Citizen Slave!